get started with our program. I now invite Keith Parker to the podium to introduce our speakers and to start the program.
All right, thank you, President Kathy. So, good afternoon. So if we can put the first slide up. This picture was taken about 10 years ago, and one of the real highlights for me as CEO of MARTA was having a chance to visit with President Carter because he was so instrumental in the initial forming of MARTA. And we spent about an hour just chatting about how he helped lead what would eventually become the largest transit system in the Southeast. President Carter, his vision was rooted in the belief that a thriving, equitable city must be connected by more than just roads, but by opportunity, access, and shared investment in the future. Since that time, MARTA seems its shares ups and downs. Many other transit systems have flourished during that time, and when MARTA was formed during the 70s, it joined San Francisco and Washington, D.C. as the new subway systems of the 70s. And while those two cities have really grown and seen massive expansion, MARTA really has not kept pace. Many transit historians would argue that MARTA saw its greatest victory during the Olympics, when it welcomed many visitors from around the world, and the agency performed pretty well. During my tenure as CEO from the end of 2012 through 2017, with the help of tremendous leaders, many of whom are in the room today, several of the MARTA board chairs, Robbie Ash and Frida Hartage and Jim Durrett and Fred Daniels, they helped issue in a new period of prosperity for the agency, where we really were able to improve the agency finances, to dramatically improve the relationship with the state legislature, which had been really, really onerous for several years, and we were able to remove some difficult legislative handcuffs, if you will. But maybe more than anything else, we were able to improve the image of the agency and the confidence in the agency, where people felt good about working for MARTA and people felt good about doing business with MARTA. Today, as we reflect on that time, which wasn't that long ago, we know there's some opportunity. During that period, largely with the help of then Board Chair Robbie Ash, we passed two tax increase referendums. For 40 years, MARTA had been trying to pass referendums to improve transit dollars that would allow for expansion. And for 40 years, every measure failed. We passed two by 70% of the vote, with both of them. Since that time, multiple measures have been attempted in surrounding counties. All have failed, most failed pretty spectacularly. So today, the agency stands at a critical crossroads. With the 2028 World Cup on the horizon, Atlanta is preparing to welcome the world. Yet MARTA faces mounting scrutiny over service reliability, safety concerns, and ridership recovery. At the same time, very optimistically, it is undergoing one of the most significant transformations in its history. From new rail cars and a new fare system to the redesigned bus network and expanded safety initiatives. To help us understand how MARTA is going to handle all of its challenges and opportunities and how it plans to meet the moment, we are joined by two people very instrumental in making this happen. First, we welcome Jonathan Hunt. Come on up, Jonathan. MARTA's Jonathan is MARTA's interim general manager and CEO. He brings over 2 decades of experience, including considerable time working for the city. Take a seat, Jonathan. Working for the city, particularly working with Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. Prior to being named as CEO, Jonathan was the general counsel, and maybe you all will still give him his job back at some point, so it remains to be seen. All right, and then secondly, please bring up board chair, Ms. Jennifer Ide. Jennifer's a former city council member and long-term civic leader. She brings a deep understanding of how transit policy intersects with community needs, economic development, and regional growth. As chair, she plays a vital role in setting strategic direction and ensuring accountability at the highest level. Today, they represent both the operational and governance sides of MARTA's leadership, and they're here to speak today candidly about the challenges, opportunities, and this says the road ahead, but the track ahead. Jonathan, come back up as you were right. You're supposed to be up here giving a presentation. All right.
Listen, he'll always be my boss, so when the boss tells you something to do, you do it. He also knows, and what you all are about to find out, is that I am a preacher's kid, an attorney, so my voice is very soothing to me. So hopefully we'll have some time for Q&A. Maybe not. Maybe not. I'm gonna go ahead and take this watch off because we don't need to worry about time today. Thank you, Mr. Parker. Hello, my name is Jonathan Hunt. I'm honored to serve as the interim general manager and CEO of your MARTA transit system. Just the green? Got it. Thank you. Let's begin with, whoop, did I hit it the wrong way? There we go. Let's begin with this. Atlanta has a good transit system. However, MARTA staff, the region, our stakeholders, and most importantly, our patrons aren't satisfied with a good transit system, which is why we're going to go from a good transit system to a great one. And going from good to great will require some short-term discomfort for long-term benefits. Our goal is to increase ridership and improve the customer experience. I'm going to say that again. Increase ridership and improve customer experience. The way we do that is by delivering safe, clean, and reliable transit through routine excellence every day. The vision to build this consistency of delivery through a customer-centric approach is what we believe will help rebuild the trust in MARTA. My near-term goals for MARTA are improving operational reliability, improving the safety and security of our transit system, working to deliver on advanced key projects, and ensuring that MARTA is World Cup ready. I want to talk about some initial concrete steps that MARTA will be taking around each one of these goals. MARTA is working to improve operational reliability. We recently embedded an operational consultant in MARTA, FSO, and they are working with management as well as our represented workforce to identify issues and improve operational reliability. This isn't hire a consultant and get a nice 4-color process glossy report at the end of the year. As we identify improvements, we're enacting them right now. If there's a budget impact to those are elevated to me, my Deputy General Manager, Rhonda Allen, immediately, and we either give it a thumbs up or thumbs down immediately. We're no longer waiting to make the improvements, we're doing them right now. We continue to recruit and hire qualified bus, rail operators and mechanics, as well as MPD staff. And to that end, we're working with the Amalgamated Transit Union, the ATU, to negotiate a collective bargaining agreement. And I'm pleased to announce that this past week we had a great movement forward in signing our agency safety plan with the management staff and ATU. Both have to sign off on that plan. We accomplished that this Friday, so we're very excited about where the collective bargaining agreement negotiations are going. And finally, I met a couple of times with a strategic operations advisory group. This group was convened by the MARTA board under the leadership of Chair Ide to act as a guide from myself, Deputy General Manager Allen, but really our entire C team to guide us through this transformative period while the board focuses in on looking for the permanent General Manager and CEO. Our initial meetings, some of which have occurred in this very building, have been extremely productive, and I've seen it as a great opportunity to liaison with some of the best and strongest business leaders in the region. Next, I want to touch on safety and security on MARTA. Let me be clear. We have one of the safest transit systems in the United States. Oh, I thought it wasn't working. Thank you. Sorry about that, everybody. Just pressing the button. I'm still pressing the button. Okay, operator error here. It's law, not tech. There we go. Look at those folks. There we go. The MARTA Police Department has increased patrols and visibility, and hopefully, for those of you who have ridden, have seen more MPD staff on the system. I know I have. And by the end of 2025, MPD will be at their full budgeted allotment of officers, roughly about 250 officers, so we'll be fully staffed. We also have a real-time crime center that we've just recently brought online, and the real-time crime center allows our officers, which it is staffed by officers, to monitor our over 3,000 cameras, live, interface with other law enforcement agencies across the region, and track down and help eliminate crime as much as possible, and when one occurs, to nip that in the bud. But what has all of this and all of these efforts and all of this capital yielded us? Violent crime over the last 5 years, ending in the end of 2024, is down by over 50%. This year in 2025, year to date, overall crime of all manner and measure, violent or nonviolent, is down by almost 25%. And we know data doesn't make people safe. So if you get on the system and you're not feeling safe, we have more work to do. And all of this is good and a great trend, but we want to get to great, as I said before. So we're going to continue to invest in our MPD. We're going to hire 10 more field protective specialists, which are non-sworn officers. They carry everything except for a gun and a taser. And we're going to also hire 30 more officers in 2026 above the budgeted allotment. When you have a good investment, you don't back away from it, you invest more in it. And that's what we're doing with our MPD. To prepare ourselves in the region for the future increase in population, we're advancing several key projects in the near term and beyond. I'm going to cover a few of those right now. First of which is our next-gen bus network. For the first time since our founding, we are re-envisioning the bus network with over 18 months of community engagement, planning, and work with our elected officials and other community partners. We are redesigning this entire work to launch in April of 2026. Get ready to ride, because the redesign will deliver frequent 15-minute headway access to 3 times as many Atlantans and Metro Atlantans. Also with this network, we're doing 12 reach on-demand zones. It may be difficult to see, but those are those tan blobs you see on the map in front of you. Those are MARTA reach zones, where they're outside of that fast, frequent 15-minute headway. That's going to be an Uber-like experience. So within that zone, you're going to be able to go into our app, ask for a MARTA reach vehicle. A bus shuttle van will come and pick you up, take you to our heavy rail system, and if your stop is inside that zone, it's point to point. And we're very excited to roll out the MARTA reach system alongside the next-gen bus network. You may be wondering why I'm standing up here looking like I'm giving a TED Talk instead of in a tie. Like, I thought he's big. I could have sworn he was here before. Katie invited him. I swore he had a tie on. But today I'm and some of my friends, we're in our orange. The Better Breeze. A Better Breeze is coming, and we've launched it today. We had a wonderful media event this morning. Many of our board members, thank you so much. The media, interested parties, MAC was there. The list goes on and on. So thank you for your support. But what Better Breeze is an easier, more flexible way to pay. The Fairgate installation was what we launched today. We're allowing riders to pay directly. It's a frictionless system. You can pay with a credit card, a debit card, your wallet. We're going to take everything except crypto, and don't talk to my chief of technology because he's working on that too. So we celebrated the groundbreaking this morning, which is why I stayed in the team colors with the team t-shirt and unveiled the new Fairgates. We're rolling this out across the system, but the launch is in April of 2026. Our 5 points transformation, mobilization and deconstruction of the 5-point system. The deconstruction work has begun. Pedestrian access has been maintained throughout mobilization, and you can expect heavier equipment to arrive next month. We have moved our ride store and MPD and other services there to Ashby Station temporarily. And don't worry, it's not on the slide. For all of my business leaders in the room, we are going to have a construction moratorium during the World Cup. And we are, which is definitely, and we're working with many of you in the room on what the livery and what the beautification is going to look like when we welcome the world to our community. The 5 points rehabilitation, because 5 points is 2 projects in one. What's made the paper is the transformation. What's been going on for the past year is the 5 points rehabilitation, which is below grade and underground. That will be completed in spring of 2026. You're going to see new tiles, new white wall tiles, lighter, brighter floor tiles. We've replaced all the lighting and changed the ceiling panels. So now when you go through 5 points, it feels less cavernous and more like a place you want to stay and dwell and enjoy and feel safer. The third image on the bottom right, the orange areas are new seating areas in the center platform, which previously didn't have anything, to allow a little bit more customer comfort while they wait for the next train. On this slide, you'll see the Garnett Station Rehab on the left and the Sports, Entertainment, and Convention Center District on the right. With respect to Garnett Station, we recently finished up a temporary skip stop for Garnett Station. This is a project that the team was tasked with getting done in 6 weeks or less, starting at the beginning of September 13th of this year, and construction all the way through yesterday. I say yesterday because Garnett Station is back open. We've replaced 40-year-old pavers and improved a lot of the aesthetics of that station, and partnered with our friends at ADID along with the Broad Street renewal and revitalization effort that's ongoing right now. We're on time and on budget, and very pleased to go check out that station today because it's open again. Also, the Dome Station, Omni, Phillips, CNN, and depending on when you got to Atlanta, is what you call that station. Oh, GWCC, don't let me forget our friends stay GWCC. We're getting rid of all of that under leadership of our board. A few calls to our friends at the SEC. We've renamed that station to the Sports, Entertainment, and Convention District Station. The SEC District Station, or SECD. That station is undergoing a lot of renovation right now. It's a lot quieter than the other stations. We've increased our restrooms to new smart restrooms. That work is done. The work on the ceiling and the roofing is almost complete at that station. And most importantly, we're not closing that station. We had previously thought to close the station to repair and replace all of the escalators there in advance of World Cup. Instead, we went back to the drawing board, got a better engineering solution where we can replace one escalator at a time, but we're going to start that work after the World Cup. There will be some impact, but it's not going to be a complete shutdown, to be kinder and listen to our neighbors and friends in the downtown area. MARTA Rapid A line, this is a bus rapid transit line. We have had a number of less than ideal construction conditions on this site, and you're wondering, why is he leading with a negative on this? Well, it's not really a negative because we sat down with our partners at the city, specifically the ATL DOT, a lot of workshop, a lot of engineering sessions, and found a new solution that helped advance this project so that we could open in April of 2026. And it was just astounding to see the two teams work together, and we couldn't have done it without our city partners, especially the ATL DOT. But the two photos that I asked the team to share today, the one on the left that you see is what many of us remember as Hank Aaron Drive. We'd go to the Braves game, maybe you took that shuttle connector from the MARTA station, maybe you'd go and park, but that's what you'd experience. The same area that Mr. Parker mentioned when we were doing the Olympics. What's on the right is what's there today. A completely transformative difference. MARTA's we weren't the only catalyst for this. The city was a catalyst, the county was a catalyst, our state partners were a catalyst in this project, Georgia State was a catalyst in the project, but MARTA played a part as well. So now you have a Publix, you have massive amounts of market rate and affordable housing going in along this corridor, and it's tied in with the Beltline. We're extremely proud of this project, and as we roll and bring online other bus rapid transit projects in the near and distant future, keep these two pictures in mind, because sometimes they'll go in corridors saying, why are they doing that? Wait a few years and you'll see the catalytic development follow. Let's not bury the lead. MARTA is preparing and we will be World Cup ready. We're going to add additional shuttle trains, load and go teams, which are the people who help folks on the platforms. We have enhanced escalator and metering measures, which we put in place for Labor Day that worked flawlessly. Our MPD, our police department's going to increase safety measures with enhanced technological and other measures like increasing our mobile drone unit, as well as some other surveillance techniques that I'm not at liberty to say, but for the wrath of my chief. I mentioned SEC district station improvements, and not to bury the lead, but we're working very closely with the CIM group about another improvement at SEC district station to connect to that catalytic development that is going on that we all call Centennial Yards that the city and CIM have partnered on. We'll also be bringing on the most technologically advanced trains in the nation. Don't think of any rail car that you've gone on in the U.S. and think that's what's coming to Atlanta. We're doing better. We're going to go from good cars that have lasted 40 years to great ones. And by the time the World Cup arrives, there'll be multiple train sets in the system providing revenue service. We're not waiting. As soon as they're ready and past testing, we're putting them in. So get ready to ride. There'll be something surprising coming here later this year, hopefully. Finally, I'm asking this group to let MARTA drive. After the event concludes, we'll be handing out complimentary Breeze cards to everyone. You can use them. You can hand them out to friends, family, coworkers, subordinates. But there's a QR code on the screen. Please scan it. When you ride, please take the survey. Let us know how we did, both good, but more importantly, bad. If there's issues, things that you've seen, we can't improve without feedback. So this group, as well as our patron group, is a free data test, and we need your help. Please take a Breeze card, hand it out if you want to hand it out, but have them complete that survey. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Parker.
He swallowed my hand as I tried to shake it. So a few things. So let me first ask all the members of the advisory task force, I see Katie and Peter, if all of you will please stand. A couple of other members would have been here but have conflicts, and so we meet pretty much every Monday, as Jonathan mentioned, right after this meeting, and Jonathan comes in and gives us a nice update, and we give him feedback about where we see opportunities and that sort of thing, so we'll continue that. So while Jonathan's taking a breath, thought now would be a good time, Jennifer, to ask you a couple of things. So, Chairwoman, many people view as the most important and impactful work of a board is that of the selection of its CEO. So you all, Jonathan has indicated he's not interested in the permanent position, so you can talk freely even though he's here. You all are in the midst of the search for the permanent replacement. Can you give us an update on where things are and what types of a leader are you all hoping to bring to Atlanta?
Yeah, thank you. It was time for a change, and, I sort of equate it to a professional sports team that, sometimes you need a new coach, and that's where we ended up in the board making a decision this year that it was time, that we look for leadership for the point in history where we are with MARTA. We have engaged a search firm, DSG Global, and Zach Deming is here, who is the lead on this team. We as a board decided to go with a search firm that had deep experience in transit, but also in some adjacent industries. So in aviation, in logistics, and other areas where you are customer facing and moving people. And so we have tasked DSG to bring us great transit candidates who are out there. They just completed 2 searches for other transit authorities, so they are very on point of knowing who in the transit world is out there, but we also asked them to look broader for that, of somebody who has led transformation in a system. As everybody knows, it's been decades since we have had capital projects of the size that are before us, so somebody who has done that, somebody who has also brought innovation to a system that is decades old in their technology, because there are, MARTA a year from now is going to be a completely different MARTA than what it is today with all the projects that are going on. So somebody visionary, but somebody also who, I will say one of my favorite things that our current C-suite is doing is getting out there on the system with the MARTA employees who make the trains run and make the buses run. So we want somebody both approachable, who our workforce will embrace, but who's going to take MARTA to this next level.
Thank you. Another question that comes up frequently is the governance structure of MARTA. Some think it's antiquated, that it is literally, the way it's constituted, that it cannot be successful, that it creates infighting, creates a very difficult way of forming a vision. Do you think the current structure, first, describe a bit the current structure, and do you think it is the appropriate structure for moving MARTA forward?
So the current structure is the appointing jurisdictions under the MARTA Act, this is state law, all get a certain number of appointments. And so I am a City of Atlanta appointee. Segura Jones, who's here today, is a City of Atlanta. There are 3 City of Atlanta appointees who were all appointed by Mayor Dickens. There are 4 DeKalb County appointees who, get me right on this, 1 is appointed by the mayors of the municipalities in DeKalb County. The others are appointed by the DeKalb commissioners.
Correct.
And then there are 3 Fulton County appointees, again, 2, am I right, Frida, appointed by the North Fulton mayors and 1 by the Fulton Commission, and then 2 Clayton County appointees and 1 by the governor. So that should add up to 15, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And then
2 by the
plus
governor.
our 2 ex officio members, Russ McMurray for DOT, and Janine, who has many, many titles
Yeah.
of,
Don't get us quoting because we'll miss a title.
Yeah,
But yes, 2 from the state.
yeah, 2 from the state there. Somebody asked me when I was getting my lunch about could we change the governance structure? And I said, well, you need to talk to your friends at the General Assembly because it is a state law that sets it. I think at this point in time right now, we have a great board that is very collaborative. in times of change, of course, there's going to be some tensions, but that's what gets you moving forward. I mean, if we all agreed about everything, you're not going to innovate. You're not going to do new things. So I don't know. I mean, it's something we could certainly talk about, but it would take an amendment to the state law.
All right. So back to you, Jonathan. Let's talk a little bit about ridership. So pre-pandemic, MARTA was doing pretty well ridership-wise. And most of the transit systems around the country saw precipitous drops during COVID. Almost all have recovered a significant amount of their ridership, but MARTA lags pretty far behind some of the other systems. Why is that, and what are some of the things you all are doing to try to bring back riders?
So that all of that is absolutely correct. We're not at the bottom, but we're toward the bottom, which is not good. We're a few things. Why I'm wearing the orange shirt. The data. So with fare evasion, you lose ridership numbers. People who are capable of paying, sometimes in frustration of seeing too many people fare evade, will just walk through a broken gate or push through as well. Crimes of opportunity. So I mentioned the word crime because fare evasion is a crime. So we are, one, stepping up security. I mentioned that in my presentation. Two, we're improving our fare gates, making it harder to to have those crimes of opportunity and to make it more frictionless. And then three, we're going to improve the overall experience. During my time here, I want to realign the entire workforce to be customer focused. With the advisory group, they've talked about, hey, we've got some of the greatest companies in the world for customer service. Why don't you partner with them and bring those learnings back? We've already started doing that. We met with Chick-fil-A last week. We are starting to set up meetings with Delta. How does Delta get it done when somebody's unruly on a plane? It's not that much different. And then the final thing is the perception of safety. We're getting the crime numbers down and in the right area, but there is still a perception that it's unsafe, and we're working on that. A lot of that has to deal with, and I'm going to be very, very clear and transparent, the unhoused population, or maybe somebody going through a mental crisis, or in the summer times, groups of rambunctious kids with nothing better to do. The unhoused and the mental aspects of those things, the kids we've been working on and internship programs and reaching out there. We have a MARTA Hope program that has been wildly successful, but that's only 6 people across a very large system working in 3 shifts of 2 people each. We also pay for 10 beds every night for people who are willing to accept service. And when they do, we will let them have our beds for that evening or successive evenings till they get on their feet. But we need a full regional solution for that. And when we get that, it will get better on MARTA and it will get better in our communities, in our homes. Until that time, we practice empathetic enforcement. So I talked a lot about our empathy. On the other side is the enforcement. If somebody doesn't want to take those services or use those services and they're doing something wrong, because being unhoused is not a crime. If somebody's on the system and is unhoused and has not done anything wrong, we're not going to disturb them. But if there is something that's gone on, those people will be asked to leave the system. Our ejections, our suspensions have gone up 6-fold, and we will continue to do that. But wherever they come off the system is where they come off the system, which is why we need a community, a regional partnership in making that solution. But those are some of the reasons why I think ridership has taken a hit. But it's not all negative. Our mobility service, some of our most vulnerable patrons, that ridership since the depths of pandemic is up over 200%. If you look pre-pandemic, let's compare apples to apples, Jonathan. That sounds great, 200%, but you're not comparing apples to apples. Well, apples to apples, pre-pandemic, we're up over 10%. We are maxed out. As many vans and operators as we can get, that service is taken up. Now, from a business standpoint, that's some of our most expensive service, but they're saying there's a need and they want more MARTA, and we're going to meet them there. Our streetcar services, many like to pay in the streetcar, its ridership is up as well. I know it's down now for the Georgia Power work, but ridership on the streetcar of paying riders is going up, and it's among some of the safest service modes in our system now. So while there are issues and we're working on them, there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
So, thank you, Jonathan. That's an excellent answer. Jennifer, Jonathan has given a challenge to all these folks out here to ride. This was at the advice of the advisory council that you all spend a few bucks and encourage these very people who are big influencers to ride the service and let them know what they think. So, and Jonathan, I'm glad you touched on this, because as people ride, and on a recent trip that I had, 5:30 in the morning, everything is going great. Trains were spotlessly clean. Everything was on time, whole works. And we get past 5 Points. I'm on my way to the airport. I got on at Lindbergh, and a fellow jumps on, and he's obviously having some challenges. But he threatens just about everybody on the train. He's cursing, madly. And you could just see the discomfort with everyone in there. I tried to notify using the app, and the app wasn't working that morning. If any of these customers find themselves in that situation, how you are a frequent rider, how would you respond to that?
Yeah, and I will say, I have 4 daughters who are teenagers through 20-year-olds, and I use them as sort of my bellwether for riders of choice of what would it take to get them to use MARTA on a regular basis. One is being able to pay with your phone, but the other is safety. And as Jonathan said, no matter what our statistics say, when you have an incident like that and you're a rider of choice, you're probably going to choose not to do it again. Future state, when we get to the end of the year in April, when the new trains are out, every single one of those cars has a fisheye camera in it that is being monitored, and it could be triggered by noise. So if somebody's being harassing, all of that, it's going to let the operator know immediately that something's going on in the back of the train. They're going to let MARTA police know, but we're also going to have an officer on every train. That's what we've been asked to do, is people want to see the presence of an actual
I wasn't sure if I could let that cat out of the bag.
Yeah, and they are, what we're saying about this open gangway is you can walk, which means the officer can walk from car number 1 to car number 4, and it's open and there aren't any secret hiding places there. Today, Jonathan.
Today.
Yes.
But that person, you all
Yeah.
are still on that train with that person today. The app isn't responding for whatever reason right now. Take a picture of the individual, step off the train. At the next stop, there is time to go from one car to another. Our operators are trained. They know people like to step off. We call them step on and offs. So our staff, myself, you'll see me do it. I'll step off a car, I'll walk up 1 or 2 cars, and I'll step on and walk that car. Step off, and then walk up a car and get on another car. You'll have time at each station to do that, and our operators look out and literally look for people before they close the doors to remove yourself from that particular situation. When the app is working, send the picture in, describe the incident. We have technology that helps us identify anybody who's been a wrongdoer in our system. So say somebody's been suspended or ejected, their face and data will be in our system just like a mugshot. You send that in, that will trigger MPD, they'll put out a BOLO, and all of this you won't see, it'll go on behind the scenes. They will find that person on the system and confront them. I've seen it work, and I like it to work in the moment, but if it was me in that situation, that's how I would handle that specific situation. And that new unit for the new rail cars is going to be called the train patrol unit. Every new cadet that comes out of all of your different police command centers will start as train patrol units every day with the new rail cars.
All right, well, I'd like to invite any Rotary members who have a question to please step up to the mic. Keith can keep going, but we have interest. I thought we would. Okay.
Sure. So while we're waiting for some of our questioners, I love all the cool new toys that you guys are introducing. You know, there was an article done maybe around 2015. It was asking, they interviewed me and they asked, what can we do to make MARTA cool? What are some of those neat features of the train, particularly the new trains, that you think will attract those hard to attract customers to come back or try MARTA for the very first time?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing is all of the signage in the train cars is digital, so it is very easy for us to put information up. It won't be the static rail map. It will be a digital map that can show you, at each stop what the attractions are, how to transfer, how to
What station you're at.
You know.
We were talking about that on the way. We'll have a digital map of our line. You'll know what station you are at without having to count 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this is Midtown. I think all of that's going to be also pushing out messages to patrons, security messages, better informing patrons on the rail car when there are mechanical issues. Very frustrating at train stops. You don't know why. The speakers aren't working great. I'm trying to figure out. I can't go and talk to the operator. All of that's going to be improved. In addition to having an officer on the train who will be on a radio system who can also help get that information out.
We went out
Chargers.
and visit. Oh yeah, that's another one. We went out to Salt Lake about 6 weeks ago to see the facility that's putting our trains together. You can charge your phone on there, which is fantastic. As I said, the new security that they're recording everything. They are the seats. You can choose if you like to sit forward, backwards, sideways. There's all different configurations. If you're a cyclist like Jim Durrett,
More
it's
room.
very easy to put your bike on or your stroller on or your mobility device on there. So it's just going to be a better all-around experience. But I do think what we did this morning of launching the Better Breeze, of being able to just walk up and tap your card or tap your phone is going to be a game changer.
So as the mother of a Woodward alum, I spent a lot of time when he first started out on a MARTA train, and then I also lived in Inman Park for a long time and frequently took the train for meetings downtown or to Atlanta United games, maybe not the other games. I couldn't help but notice your joke about getting a new coach. That was a delayed reaction. But one of the things that I have long thought, because you've got so many students, both Woodward students, you've got Georgia State students, is creating an ambassador type program with Georgia State students in exchange for a free MARTA card, where they're outfitted in the 5 Point station as like MARTA ambassadors, so that, because it's confusing when you get down there, do I go here, do I go there? And I think it's very intimidating to people. And I would suggest utilizing that student population as brand ambassadors, but also people who could help folks that are coming from out of town or wherever navigate the system. So that was one suggestion. But the other question I have is, what has been the biggest impediment to getting neighboring counties to buy in? I mean, what can we do to help that? Thank you.
So we have a program, Transit Ambassadors. I won't go into the nuances of it. First, thank you for being a rider, first and foremost, and your children. Love the Woodward train, love Woodward, a ton of family and friends who had the very same experience. This past weekend, we were talking to Georgia Tech. We're trying to enrich our partnerships with Georgia Tech, Georgia State, and our university students first, to have them be more present riders, and then what my folks in legal will allow me to do with respect to students working as ambassadors, because that's also a represented workforce. So I love it. We're going to do it. I got to do it without blowing up my collective bargaining agreement negotiations. And your second question about our neighboring counties. We want transit in as many places as possible. The two counties that are still able to join without having to go to the legislature for any kind of amendment to the MARTA Act are Cobb and Gwinnett. What you can do is just, if you want those counties to join. Just be advocates to those elected officials. They're great partners now. We already partner. Ride Gwinnett comes down and connects to us. Cobb Link and vice versa. We do go into Cobb. It's the southern side of Cumberland Mall. We have what they let us use a couple stops there and a couple stops in Gwinnett at the very southern tip of the county. So there's a rich partnership already. The Better Breeze system, Cobb and Gwinnett are tied in this, so there's a frictionless ride. You tap in MARTA, you take a train, get on your bus, and you go catch the express bus to wherever. All of that's going to be on one system. And the more we show the value of what the current jurisdictions are getting and the better we perform for the current jurisdictional partners are going to make the other counties jealous. And eventually they'll jump on between traffic and seeing how we deliver for Atlanta, DeKalb, Clayton, and Fulton. They'll come to the light.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. MARTA, as everyone in the room knows, is a great economic engine for Metro Atlanta, and it has been a game changer at so many different levels, not only the community, but our student constituents, but from a business vantage point. Would you paint the picture for me or share the impact that MARTA has had as it relates to minority-owned, female-owned, small business owners in Metro Atlanta? We want to ensure that as we continue to grow and to expand and to create a better system, that that system is inclusive of business owners at all levels. And with what we're dealing with on a national basis with diversity, equity, and inclusion, ooh, the bad word, how will MARTA answer that question? How will you make sure that you're still inclusive without there being this terror that seems to come about whenever you use that terminology?
May I jump on this one?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what we're talking about is the more recent forays from the federal government around DEI or DBE or whatever sets of letters you want to use, initiatives, which is woven into the fabric of Atlanta. That is intimately, it's a personal experience for me. My dad worked at the IRS, and he worked in DBE and DEI programs for the IRS way back when. So it's very close to my personal heart. Now let's talk about what we can and can't do and what we have to do, because unlike some of our other sister agencies that have a vast array of funding either from the state or from other places or just bigger, we can't absorb that hit. So we have to work with our state and federal partners. Here's an optimistic tone. We have been talking with GDOT, so to be certified as a DBE entity in the state of Georgia, whether you're DBE or ACDBE, if you're going to be with the airport, there's one of two places you go. You either go to GDOT or you go to MARTA. That's the only place you can be certified. We've been meeting over the last several months with GDOT, with partners, with some of our advisory committee members, and ARC, Anna, and there's one thing that gives me the most hope and optimism is we're all aligned in, yes, meeting the legal requirements of whatever comes down, and there have been some interim rules passed down, while still maintaining the spirit of all of these programs. The DBE program hasn't gone away. It's not invalidated. What's been challenged is whether establishing goals in your public procurements with federal funds. That's a full stop. Right now, you can't establish a goal. We still have to track, and it doesn't mean we can't do outreach. It doesn't mean we can't have SBE programs. That doesn't mean we can't have veteran-owned business programs, and we're planning on doing all of that. Our commitment isn't going to waver, and I don't think anybody else's is, if I want to keep a job anyway.
No, and I would just add, back to our board, I think that's one of the great things about our board is it represents the entire footprint of the MARTA system. And I will tell you, everybody on our board, no matter what neighborhood they live in, no matter where they work, is passionate about MARTA being an engine for economic development, for neighborhood development, for education in the city, and really recognizes all of those pieces of it. So, I think Jonathan and our lawyers are doing everything they can to let us continue operating in the way that we have, which has resulted in excellent vendors.
Yeah, massive economic
But
impact.
when we do things like the bus network redesign or prioritizing projects, we have such dedicated board members who are really advocating for, across the board, for our business stakeholders, for our neighborhood stakeholders, for our children who are riding, and everybody values that the fabric of Atlanta.
I'm sorry, one more note. And here's what makes it real easy. The companies that are DBE, MBE, WBE, et cetera, they are industry leaders. They are on the front foot. They are the best of best and best in class. That makes my job really easy. That makes procurement professionals' jobs really easy throughout the state, because we're not talking about, oh, can they do the work? Can't they do? No, they're excelling. So this, it's a challenge, it's a concern, but we're ready to meet it.
Jennifer, I understand you went to the University of Virginia.
I did.
I thought Jonathan was wearing that orange shirt because we beat North Carolina.
It never hurts to
again.
make the boss smile.
My questions are two, one to you, Jennifer, and one to you, Jonathan. The first one, Jennifer, is how do you, on the board of MARTA, look at trying to match revenues with expenses? And are you doing that?
Yeah, it is something we talk about on a regular basis because MARTA, like many other government entities and private entities, we had a backstop with COVID of additional funds coming in. We have a big reserve. We talk about it probably every board meeting that we cannot live off the trough of the reserve. So, that is the goal, to have a balanced budget without pulling from reserves. We did do a small reduction in force this year. We are continuing to look at every place that we can conserve money, but getting ridership up is, we have sales tax revenue, we have ridership revenue, and those are the two biggest
Our biggest revenue
revenues.
streams.
So when, we have to look at cutting expenses when, at the same time as we're looking at the revenue.
Yeah. We also have a hiring freeze that's been put in place, so if there are new hires on the management side, those go all the way up to the food chain before they're approved. So we're looking to capture more and more savings there, and we've done a pretty good job, but we're going to advance that. But we're committed to a balanced budget. We're committed to preserving our position, in my opinion, as the most financially sound transit agency in the country, which doesn't mean that we have money for days to do all the projects known to man. No, it means we're fiscally disciplined in protecting our reserves as well as delivering great service.
Jonathan, could you comment on the expansion of underground railway for MARTA? What's on the board, and when are you going to be able to do that? Or are you going to do any of that?
So I would love to expand heavy rail in all directions along with the original engineering report, but right now the expense of expanding heavy rail is just too high, and I don't think it is palatable from a business standpoint, community standpoint, when you talk about the right-of-way impacts of that. Both if we were going to go in the right-of-way of an existing, CSX or Norfolk Southern, at some point we're going to leave their right-of-way and we will impact communities, even if it's underground. I can show you pictures of Decatur Station when it was being built. I mean, it was open heart surgery. We ripped that community in half. It is not neat. It is a broadsword. Bus rapid transit delivering 15-minute or less headway service, potentially autonomous vehicles if we can do it right in the region. All of those modes present less of an impact to a community, and therefore the community is more receptive. We have the dedicated right-of-way so that the ridership numbers go up, yes, we can come back in with light rail or heavy rail after the fact. But getting that right of way is paramount.
And I know we're right at time, so just a very quick question. One of the things that to me impacts ridership a lot is just the frequency and reliability of the train service. I feel like it's something we haven't hit on. Are people with this new app, are we going to be able to see when the next train's coming so we know if we go down in that station, there's going to be right there for us?
I'm going to say you have hit my pet peeve on this. I get the alerts every day of the bus lines in my neighborhood. And I get an alert every day about a cancellation. That's completely unacceptable. I mean, if I were taking that bus to work every day, I'd get fired. I will say the 809 is what I would get on near Ansley Mall and go to MARTA headquarters. For the dress rehearsal for the state of MARTA last year, I stood on the side of Monroe and the little dot showed that a bus was coming and the bus didn't come. And I had to walk home and get in my car and drive. Like, it's unacceptable. So parts of that are workforce, of the accountability of people showing up to work, and it's something we're talking about in our negotiations and our CBA. Part of it is the bus redesign network, that we're going too many places and we're spread too thin and having great big buses with 5 people on them, and we're solving that with fewer destinations, faster routes, but these on-demand zones that'll be like the Uber kind of to pick you up. And I'm going to turn it over to you for the new app and website that will put together the trip planning and the actuals.
So the app, it's going to be MARTA's Everything app. But right now, the tracker that's going to be in the app is available now. You go to tracker.itsmarta.com. and you'll get what it is. So you can see exactly where it is. If it's a bus that you can, there or not there, it will be better. Now, you also mentioned headways on the rail.
Right.
Yeah. So if you remember in my comments, I started with we're going from good to great, but that's going to require some short-term pain for long-term gain. In order to get the new rail cars, we have to test them on this system. And in order to test them on the system, the rails, the third rail, everything has to be up to snuff. And they're systems projects, which means they get worked on all the time. In order to deliver all these great toys and everything, this better breeze, do a station rehab, in order to do it safely, we have to do a lot of single tracking. We would love to have a third set of tracks. We could even do express routes. We don't have that. The condition we have now, we have to be able to do some of that work. So there are some impacts. We try to minimize the impacts and limit them so we're not during the peak hours in the morning, peak hours in the afternoon, and then we have a deep special events group to try to minimize it to special events. But yes, if it's a normal Saturday and your headways, you used it before and you're used to a 10-minute headway, and you get there and you say, oh, it's 22-minute headways, it's frustrating, I know. The website's better. When we get the Everything app out there, you can go to one place to get everything, but hang with us for about 6 more months. Hang with us.
Thank you very much. Jonathan, Jennifer, Keith, thank you very much for a great program. Take them up on it. You saw the QR code. Take them up on it. Please test them out. Give them feedback. We all look forward to that. Please join us next week as we are going into Veterans Day. We have 2 great programs. We have Arnold Pinaro, who is a retired United States Marine Corps Major General. And then we have on the 10th, we have the 3 members of the Armed Services that are going to talk about their experience and why they joined. And then on the 17th, we have CEO Rivian. So please join us. I look forward to seeing everybody. We are adjourned.
We're going to race to the back and put the cards out on the back table out there. They're gray. They look like this. Please take one.